Well, the regular season is officially in the books for Class 8-man. My name is Caden Nissen. I'm bringing you the final rankings before the end of the year. These will be the rankings that are used throughout the postseason, throughout the brackets. So this is where we stand right now in Class 8-man. We got a little bit of movement, and before we get started, we do have some playoff predictions coming your way. And then in the middle of the week, we will be predicting the first round matchups this coming Friday. If you want to see that type of stuff, be sure to drop a like on this video, leave a comment, let us know who your team is, who you think is going to win on Friday. But be sure to drop a like so that we know that you're wanting some playoff predictions along the content along those types of lines. But without further ado, let's get right into the top 16 for Class 8-man. Again, heading into the postseason, this will be the numbers for the rest of the way until after the state championship in the Dome. But coming at number 16 is Glidden Ralston. They don't move. They hold down that spot, beating St. Edmunds 62-16. Also holding their spots are Lone Tree and Bishop Garrigan. Lone Tree won last week over Easton Valley 58-0, and Bishop Garrigan picked up a win over Harris Lake Park 20-14. Moving down 6 spots is Moravia. They lost in kind of an upset fashion to BGM. BGM kind of right on the outside looking in. Just not enough room right now to put them in. They got a few too many losses, but a really, really good win for BGM, and I will add that they were my upset pick, so I picked that one correctly. Moving on to number 12, Iowa Valley. They move up one spot. They beat Belle Plaine 72-12. And also moving up one spot is Audubon, the Wheelers. They beat Baxter 42-26. And what might have been the best game in 8-man this week, the Wheelers pick up a nice win. Moving into the top 10, starting with number 10, Don Bosco. They move up a spot. They beat Waterloo Christian 80-0. Don Bosco finds its way back into the top 10 just in time for the postseason. The lone blemish was a week 1 loss to Gladbrook Rhinebeck by 13 points. Since then, the Dons have gotten it together, and they've had a running clock in every single regular season game. Moving on to number 9, Lennox. They beat Lamoni 56-8. Lennox's offense is led by junior quarterback Gabe Funk, who threw for 708 yards and 13 touchdowns on the year. He added 884 yards and 21 touchdowns on the ground. He's kind of the do-it-all man for Lennox at this point. And Jordan Martin England was able to chip in 10 rushing touchdowns as well. At number 8, Waco. They had no Week 8 game. Waco had the week off and only had 1 loss in the year to number 1 Winfield Mount Union 34-8, way back like week 2 or 3. 2 signature wins, though, over a ranked Iowa Valley and a solid Fremont Mills squad as Waco heads into the postseason. At number 7, Central City also moving up a spot. They beat Midland 66-18. The only blemish on Central City's resume was a week 1 close loss to the number 1 team in the state. The Wildcats are another team that shared the carries on the ground. Aiden Klosterman led the team in rushing yards and touchdowns with 569 and 11. And Matthew Klosterman wasn't too far behind with 546 yards and 9 touchdowns. 3 other players also ran for more than 100 yards in the season. Central City and Waco, again, 2 teams with just 1 lone blemish to Winfield Not Union. So they are definitely teams to look out for in the postseason. At number 6, Gladbrook Rhinebeck, the former number 1 team that just fell a few weeks ago. They beat GMG 62-16, able to bounce back with their win and just in time for the playoffs. Quarterback Isaac Clark was accurate all season long, throwing for 1,090 yards, 18 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. The Rebels spread it along the ground, and they had 4 players with over 100 yards on the season. Heading into the top 5, though, and as you can assume with every team winning pretty handedly, we do not have much movement. Number 5, Bedford. They beat Southeast Warren 63-0. Not only did Bedford go undefeated, but they had also beat 3 teams who are either ranked or were at one time in Moravia, Lennox, and Southeast Warren. At number 4, Remsen St. Mary's beat West Harrison 17-0. I guess it was technically a forfeiture, so that's just the score that goes inbound when there's a forfeit. It's 17-0, so that was not the final score. That was just what's going inbound at this point. 5 consecutive undefeated regular seasons for the defending state champs. And in those 5 seasons, the worst finish was 2 runner-ups. This one did have some interesting results, although they were all still W's. The Hawks won some games that looked more like 11-man scores than 8-man scores, including a 28-7, 17-0, and 12-7 win. But either way, the Hawks are right where they need to be for another postseason run. Really, Remsen St. Mary's might be one of the most surprising teams in 8-man, maybe Clarksville, I guess. But Remsen St. Mary's is a team we knew nothing about heading into this year. They lost all that senior class. I mean, you know the story. Everyone was talking about it. But all they did was just bounce back this year and win every single game put in front of them. And now it'll be interesting to see once the postseason comes around if they can make another run to the Dome with a brand new squad. So they're going to be a ton of fun to watch. Speaking of the biggest surprise team, I think it is Clarksville. They beat Meskwaki 48-6. The only team in 8-man to reach the 9-win mark because of a week 0 game. Clarkville's run-heavy offense featured 2 backs breaking the 1,000-yard threshold. McClade Bloker ran for 1,369 and 25 touchdowns, and sophomore Owen Backer was able to add 1,048 yards and 17 scores. At number 2, Cam. They've kind of hung around this 2-3 spot all year long. They beat Stanton 42-6. Another team wraps up another undefeated regular season. Cam only allowed an opponent to score over 14 points once, and even that was only 20 to Fremont Mills. Quarterback Chase Speaker led the way for the offense, throwing for 18 touchdowns and rushing for 18 as well. At number 1, your new number 1 team as of a few weeks ago, and they're going to hold on to it and be the number 1 team throughout the postseason. Winfield Mount Union, they beat HLV 66-0. The Wolves managed to wrap up an undefeated regular season. Their offense was led by none other than Iowa commit and senior Cam Buffington, who was able to compile 14 rushing touchdowns and 938 yards. He also added 10 receiving touchdowns, and quarterback Jake Edwards was able to pass the 1,000-yard mark through the air and had 18 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. So that was quick kind of run through of the current 8-man standings heading into the postseason. Again, if you're wanting some predictions, if you're wanting that type of content, be sure to like this video so that we know. We'll look to get those out later in the week, kind of midweek, so that you guys have time to watch that and see what we think. In 8-man, it's going to be a ton of fun. There's a ton of good competitive teams. 8-man has the most undefeated teams remaining by far across all classes. So we're going to see a lot of undefeated versus undefeated matchups as we near the Dome and as we get to the Dome. So 8-man is going to be a ton of fun. As always, tons of points being put up. It's just always super entertaining to watch. So Class 8-man fans, I won't see you next week. I will see you later this week for some playoff predictions.